In this video, um, I'm writing a program that allows you to enter in a Celsius temperature and return the Fahrenheit equivalent. Now, we've done this before, but this time I want to do it using a function. And this is going to have to be a function that returns a value, which is a little bit different than the previous functions that we have written, where they just did something, the function did something, and they didn't return a value. So it's a little bit different. Okay, so I've got the loop written here. Let's just go over this briefly. Here is a serial.println, enter the Celsius temperature. Okay, we've seen this while serial not available. The not is the exclamation point right there. It inverts this Boolean expression. And what this does is it circulates in this while loop. The while loop doesn't do anything. It just halts the program as long as there is nothing in the serial monitor. So this is a good way to have your program stop until the user enters something. When he enters something, then this serial.available becomes true, and this becomes false, and so now the loop ends. Okay, now as soon as the user enters temperature, then we've got this serial.parseInt, which takes the first available integer that it finds, and it's going to store it in this variable called CEL, cell for Celsius temperature. Then I'm going to call on this function convert, which I haven't written yet, and I'm going to pass it that Celsius temperature as a parameter. And since it's going to return a value, I've got a place for the value that's going to be returned, and it's going to be returned into this variable called FAR, F-A-R, for Fahrenheit temperature, and that variable is a float. Okay, then once that happens, then we can just print the results. So we have the Fahrenheit equivalent is, and then we print the actual temperature, and then this just skips a line. Okay, so let's write the function now. All right, now, the first thing that we have to do is to decide what kind of variable this function is going to return. Now, this has kind of already been decided for us because we can see that we're going to take this value that gets returned and we're going to put it in a variable FAR, which is a float. So that means the function is going to have to return a float value. So I'm going to have to put that first, the type of value that the function returned. Recall that in previous functions, we used a void there when it didn't, when the function didn't return a value at all. Okay, the name of the function is convert. Okay, now we can see here that this function is being passed this variable, the contents of the variable cell, which is an integer. So therefore, I can expect that the parameter here is going to have to be an integer. And I can call this anything I want. It's a Celsius temperature. How about I just call it C? Okay, and then I need an open brace. Okay, now I'm going to declare another variable here called, I'll call it F. This is going to be the Fahrenheit temperature. And F is equal to this C value that gets passed to it times 9 divided by 5. Notice I'm writing those as floating point numbers. And I'm going to take that and add 32. Okay, so that computes that Fahrenheit temperature and stores it in a variable called F. And then the last thing I have to do, very importantly, is return F. Okay, that statement has to be included in any function that returns a value. Okay, and then I just close the braces. Okay, let's try it out. Okay, so down here you can see enter the Celsius temperature. Oh, let's try 25 to begin with. Click send. And the Celsius temperature is 77. Notice it prints it to 2 decimal places. Since it's a floating point number, by default, it always prints to 2 decimal places. Let's try that again. Let's try if the Celsius temperature was 0. And 32, which of course is correct. Let's try 100. Boiling point of water. And the Fahrenheit temperature is 212. Okay, so please make sure you understand the parameter passing here, and importantly, how the value is returned back from the function back to the main program. You've got to have some place to put it. So in this case, it was stored in a variable. When you write a function that returns something, you've got to make sure that you've got the type right here, the type of value that it returns, and then you've got to have that return statement within at the end of the function.